mother would say no, which they did. They went, no, it's not my child, save the child, don't cut it in half, just give it to the other woman. And so King Solomon gave it to the woman who said that, because he knew that was the real mum. What they did, Rise of Skywalker, was to chop the baby. They tried to basically please everyone. So they wanted to miss, they wanted to please all the fucking old school. Stuck in the face. They did that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Riffing with Scott. Off the side of the camera here, Simone. Do you want to move in a little bit?
I'm very aware of the 1.5 meters.
Social distancing.
Please, nobody.
This is only a gathering of one additional person.
Please do not dob us in if we're slightly closer than 1.5 meters.
Bloody hell, it's Wednesday already. Yes, it is. How's everybody doing? We all doing alright? Hi from Australia. Far out, that's so far away. And it feels far away. Everything feels far away right now. Alright, so tonight, whatever time it is where you are, we're going to be doing Saccharin Dream, or Sac Dream. we call it Saccharin, just cause.
I'm just warning you, I might be a little bit rough tonight because this is the first time I've picked a guitar up in a little while, so...
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
So apologies in advance.
Alright, so let's get rid of that. This tune is in drop A, which I guess I did tune. Cool. And now, for everyone's viewing pleasure and downloading pleasure, you can now purchase the tabs. So, you can head on over to voyager.bandcamp.com and pick up the tabs from there. So if you want to sling us $10 dues for all of the tabs for this record, that would be awesome. And you can then play along with us. Of course, these videos are going to go into more depth. So if you need any questions answered, you can always go back and rewatch previous episodes, and there'll be a ton of detail and extra banter in those. So yeah, so you can go and check that out if you want to. Okay, now this is where I need all of you to be my brilliant roadies.
Why caption?
Why is there captions? Are there captions? Why is there are there captions? Are there tabs for air guitar? Nice.
Just look good.
Yeah. Just be sexy. That's all you have to do. Be sexy and...
I never said anything about being sexy. I said look good doing it. You can be as unsexy as you want.
That's true. Yeah, you can be a nerd and still look good. Where was I? I can't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, we were asking, is there captions?
Oh, is there captions? Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know how they would...
Maybe they're translating us in real time.
Good luck.
Facebook is translating us in real time and probably doing a great job of it too. Awesome. Finally, I'm able to catch a live stream, grabbing a cup of coffee to start the day. That is the best way to start the day, with coffee and us. Yeah, there's subtitle captions. That is really weird. Oh well, cool. That'll add to the comedic effect.
They're probably really, really, really wrong.
Yeah,
I wish I could
wrong.
See them just so I could laugh at them.
Yeah, right. No captions on Twitch. All right. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. So yes, you can go to voyager.bandcamp.com and you can purchase the tabs for Colours in the Sun. The design and layout was all done by our own wonderful drum maestro Ashley Ducourt, because he designs things for money, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so it's got every single song transcribed by us two, so you can know for sure that the parts are actually what they are. And yeah, hope you all enjoy it. So, what I'm going to get you guys to do is tell us whether you can hear the guitars. Now, the talkback microphone is going to disappear for a moment while we do this. So please bear with us and let us know if you can hear both Simone and my guitar. Yeah. Okay.
She's not done yet.
This one's going to be filled with Simpsons quotes. Okay.
Am I quieter or louder?
Simone needs to be lounder.
Lounder?
God, I hate the 40-second chat delay. So do we. All right, so you can maybe if you turn your dial up to 90, turn it up to 90 degrees, so 3 o'clock. Yeah, that should be better.
About there.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna try Simone's guitar again. Just let us know if you can hear it. All right, cool. I think we're ready to go. So we're just gonna bash through Saccharine Dream. Let's just see how we go, shall we?
God.
Enjoy. That song's bloody hard.
Yeah, I completely cooked that. You can tell I haven't played that song in about 4 weeks. Far out. Maybe I should probably,
Lulu. Oh, hi, Simi. Their lips moved, but I couldn't hear what they were saying.
You don't want to. It was mainly lots of bad, colourful language because I absolutely cooked everything.
This song is amazing. Thanks, Norberto. Hey, Brent. Hey, Ian. Hey, Zach. Ben. Lol, been there. Yeah, we all have. It's all good. It's all good. That's all
but I have to
cooked.
get it right so I can show you how to do it.
Yeah. When a bottom string just shits the bag at the end of Ascension. Alright. So let's pull up the old Tabby Boy. So this whole opening is just a bit of wank by me. So the first time I played this melody, as you can see, they have this line underneath the note here, which just means to play the note for like its full value. You want to try and play these notes into one another, so you can get all the notes to kind of bleed together. When it comes back later, it's more staccato, but this time around, you want all that stuff to just like blend and bleed into each note. So you want to be mindful of making sure you hold each note for its full value. Struggling to hear me? Oh no, hold on. Let's just crank that a bit. Is that a bit better?
It's probably because it's cleans. Clean boys.
Yeah. Or are you talking about the guitar? Are you talking about my voice or the guitar? Perfect sound. Is this line 6? It sure is. It is the line 6 Helix Stomp that both me and Sim are using these days. And it is a fantastic little piece of gear, isn't it, Simmy?
It sure is. And it fits in your front pocket of your pedal bag. So, yeah, I can't really complain about that.
No. The fact that it's the fact that you can literally just put it into a little bag and take it on as carry-on luggage when you're traveling is really, really awesome. Brent, why do we move away from the Axe Effects? For that exact reason. We both think the Axe Effects is a sick unit. Like, it's got nothing to do with the quality of other products. It's actually just to do with portability. And
baggage
honestly,
handlers.
Yeah, just baggage handlers. Just like, yeah, honestly, the baggage handlers just ruined our Axe Effects like real bad. Like there was one time in the States where it came out of the carousel without the rack lid on it. So like the front face of my Axe Effects, like with the UI and everything, was like bare.
Yeah, America, they really care about their baggage handling.
They really care about people's equipment. Can we share the patches? We sure can. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to open up Helix Edit. You should be able to see that. Connecting. Hey. All right. So here is the patch. We're using pretty simple patches, to be honest with you. I'm using the solo lead clean for my clean tone.
I'm using pretty much the same as you. I haven't changed anything.
The Cali V30, which is basically just the Mesa. As far as I know, that's supposed to be a Mesa cab. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's maybe the XXL is a Mesa cab, but either way, this cab sounds really bright and really clear, and I really dig that. What we tend to do with reverbs and delays is we tend to send them in a parallel chain. So what this means is that anything that is sent down this line is only being hit by this little reverb unit here. This is like a really low mix cave echo, just to kind of give this line a little bit of atmosphere, so it's not just completely dry. But then we're sending a second chain into a delay, vintage digital, and a Ganymede reverb. And that's what produces all that really swimmy stuff in the background. So the reason why I don't have it all in series is because putting a delay in series is going to affect all of the sound that comes through. So you'll get delays interfering with your initial line. So this way, I have one channel that is basically completely dry, and then another one that is very wet by comparison. So this doesn't interfere with the cleanliness of the tone up front, because it becomes a muddy old mess when you just run it all in series, at least in my opinion. So that's the clean. The distortion is like even simpler. Literally running a line 6 bedonk into the same Cali V30, and I'm not doing anything with this cab sim at all. It's a 57 emulation. The distance is close mic'd. I'm not taking any low or high cuts. And I mean, honestly, just sounds good as far as I'm concerned. You don't really need to do anything to these patches, which is why I think the Helix is so cool. You really don't have to do much to these patches at all. And then the other thing we've got is a little stomp box for a pitch shifter, which puts on an octave sound. So that's just when we want to play big, fat, jaunty riffs. Big, chunky, jaunty riffs. So that's the distortion patch. The delay is exactly the same thing, but just with the delay thrown in the mix. So this is where we have all of our, like, not solo leads, but kind of like those little interlude bits. Yeah. Like Simone uses this patch quite a bit in this tune for all the melodies. Just
so you can pop a little bit louder.
Yeah,
rhythm, but not as loud as a lead.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a lead. There's a tiny boost on this with a bit of delay, and then we've just got our full-blown lead, which again is really nothing particularly interesting. It's basically the same patch again, but louder. So we're really not even scratching the surface of what this thing can do, honestly. And really, it sounds so good without having to do much at all, which I think is why I love this piece of gear so much.
I have a guitar. It's right here.
It's a beautiful one at that. Simone, what guitar are you playing?
You didn't want to hear it about 5 minutes ago, though. Trust me. I was just being lazy. I was letting Scott take the wheel because he has the gear.
Yeah, the annoying thing, I'm going to have to work out how to do this, but whenever Simone plays, I'm going to have to turn the talkback mic off. Unless... Actually, Simi, do you want to pass me your instrument cable for a sec?
Do you need to turn down?
Actually, out of this guy, if you could. What we're going to try is we're both going to run into...
My instrument cable is going into here.
Oh, it is. Okay. Maybe... Give us 2 secs, everybody. Maybe this one... Oh, hold on.
Yeah, that's going to you.
Okay, that one.
You've now just unplugged everything.
Good job. You've destroyed everything.
You have now turned everything off.
Now, if you take the other end of that cable, Simi.
This one? Yep. The gross one?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep, that one, and plug that into your guitar.
Oh, okay.
Turns out that you can also, this is another cool little thing that the Helix
I'm
can
running
do,
on yours, am I?
Is we can both run into the exact same unit.
Does that mean you're controlling me, though?
Yes.
That's probably not so good for leads. But then again, we're going to be stopping and starting, so
yeah,
who cares?
So
let's do that.
Try playing something, Simi. Hey! Now we both exist.
Oh, at the same time.
The cool thing is you can also, because the Helix Stomp has a stereo in, you could run it as dual mono if you want to. So Sim is running into the left in and I'm running into the right in, and we can both play through the exact same Helix unit, which is very, very cool. So if you're ever in a pinch or one of your Helix units blows up on tour for some bizarre reason,
you could just wing it.
You can just wing it and plug into another one. So
sure beats
pretty cool.
Going dry DI signal like you did. Where was that?
That was in Philadelphia. It was the first show.
We've all done it.
The first show of an American tour. We load our gear onto the stage frantically because we're running a bit late. And promptly after we start our set, my amp head blows up, which is fantastic. And then I have to plug my guitar into a DI box that goes directly into the desk. For anyone who's not like super into tech and stuff like that, basically it sounded like this. So imagine playing an entire set of metal music with this tone.
It was amazing.
Like blaring back at you. There was a point in the set where Alex looked at me and put his arm around my on my shoulder and was like, "Man, your tone sounds like shit." And I just it just killed me. I laughed so hard. I was so angry, but man, was it funny. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I love tech issues.
So, yeah, that was pretty fun.
It's funny, we both had an amp blow up on our first gigs in America.
Really?
Yeah, my Mesa blew up.
Oh yeah,
my
it did
first
too.
gig last time.
Yeah, true. It's the United States curse of some kind.
Yeah, your power's all fucked up, mate.
That tone is pretty heavy. I know, right? It's like world-crushingly heavy.
That's what we have to listen to when we're tracking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sound of a DI'd guitar. It does not sound good at all.
Yeah, it's not great.
So that just goes to show exactly how much work the Line 6 is doing to make us sound good.
Yes.
It's a brilliant piece of gear. Anyway, song time. So that's the first little bit. Then we got this. Is this a chorus riff? What part is this riff? Like this whole.
I mean, does this song even have a chorus? It's just a journey, man.
It's just a voyage.
It's not about the destination, man. It's about the journey.
Yeah.
All right.
Take a trip with us.
So just take the journey.
Brilliant advice.
Yes, I do remember that, Zach. It happens. Somehow I managed to knock lots of things down when I play shows.
Yeah, and the other thing that also happened at Satan's Hollow was that Simone herself fell down
a set of stairs. That was the first time.
Yeah.
I nearly broke my arm. It was great.
Yeah. Who would have thought that slate and water would not mix?
Well, at least they fixed that, though.
That's true.
I was very happy.
Yeah. That venue is great. That venue is so funny.
Cool.
It's such a bizarre venue, but we love it. Yeah, so this riff was originally something else. So we had a different riff here for a very long time. And then we kind of like... Whoa, why did I do that? We kind of went back and listened to the riff that was there, and we kind of went, this doesn't... It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it wasn't the right vibe. And then I recalled writing this riff. Do I tell them where this came from? Do I just say it?
It was originally not in this tuning.
Yeah.
It was in drop D, wasn't it?
No, it was actually in A. It was in A. Or maybe A flat or something. But it was actually, weirdly enough, it was inspired by a track by Deadmau5. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the song, but maybe you guys can do a bit of a hunt for it. It's a Deadmau5 tune, and it's literally the very first bit of the song. And I was originally going to do a full cover of it, but I just wrote this riff sort of for the cover. And then we ended up just using it for this song because it kind of worked. So that's the story of this little riff. This one is like, there's lots of vibrato and stuff on all these notes. You know, we like to go pretty bendy.
Just to get jaggy.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you play this without bends, you know, it's just
boring.
It's just a bit boring. But if you
it's basically the difference between a bland meal on the aeroplane, which is basically a bowl of steam, and, you know, one that's moderately flavoursome on a plane.
put some salt and pepper on that.
Yeah, maybe not as much as you like to put on, but
I like my pepper. I like my pepper.
How's that pepper?
Oh man, there are so we are referencing so many things right now. Yeah, Deadmau5. Yeah, exactly. From the Colours album, what's your favourite song? I'm between Colours in the Sun and Runaway.
Ooh,
I don't know.
that's hard.
I really like Colours. I think Colours is a really fun track. I do really like Saccharine Dream as well, actually, to be honest.
I like Entropy.
Entropy's, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
It's hard.
To choose.
It's hard. I like listening to Runaway.
Yes.
Runaway to play on guitar is... Nah, it's...
For you.
That's true. This entire record, I'm like doing all the easy bits, and I'm like, hey,
Nah,
sing.
that's not entirely true. You're doing all the hard stuff on this, apart from the guitar solo.
Yeah, the solo. Yeah.
You're doing all the rhythms on this.
Fair.
Most of the rhythms.
Yeah, on that note, the rhythm parts coming up are real difficult. So I'm pretty sure the groove here, that this whole like... that whole thing was a groove that that Alex and Ash wrote, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think... Well, because we were trying to figure out how to go from...
The previous riff.
to this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, it was you, Ash, and Alex, I think, that kind of came
stuffed
up
around
with
with
something,
it. Yeah. I can't quite recall the exact origins of this idea, but we kind of spent a bit of time stuffing around with a groove. And Alex really wanted to do like a slap thing to bring it in. And then when we went to track the guitars for it, we decided that we wanted to also put a little guitar bit over the top. So sorry, Alex. We stole your little nugget of solo right there. So we have this little bit at the beginning. A little bit more. So that's this little bit in here, this 3/4 part here. Now this groove is broken up into a really weird set of rhythms. So it's basically a 3/4 groove repeated multiple times until it loops back to the beginning again. So I'm pretty sure it's a 4-bar loop. I can't even vocalize it. That's interesting. So, I mean, anyway, the groove starts here, and then it repeats here at beat 4 of the first bar. So it's kind of this weird thing where we're doing a 3/4. Ash is doing all kinds of crazy shit on this. I don't actually know what grooves what signatures he's actually playing. He's doing all kinds of weird stuff with the drums.
I think at the start he's pulling the offbeat.
Yeah.
And then he goes onto the onbeat, I think.
Trying to think of what he does, because the snare is just consistent, do ga do ga do ga do ga, right? But then the kicks are doing the groove that we're following. So I think the kicks are following us, but then the snare is just straight. I don't know. It's a very like Ash is.
I know he switches it.
Yeah, Ash is some kind of wizard. He does all kinds of things.
He is a drum wizard. He is a time wizard.
He is. Have you seen his beard? I mean, he's clearly a wizard. Let's be real. Runaway, yeah. Oh, they haven't heard my version of Runaway yet. I did a sweet remix of Runaway recently, but we'll let you guys hear that at a later point. Everyone's really digging Runaway. It's cool. Thanks for liking on that tune. We all really dig it too. It's a really fun song. How good was shooting the video clip for that song? Wow. Don't get too enthusiastic, Simone.
I was distracted reading, and I was not listening to what you were saying. I was reading comments. I didn't realize you were talking to me.
Yeah, I was asking.
But yes, the video clip was.
Oh boy!
Wow. Yeah. We were submerged in like some sort of Ebola water for like 12 hours.
Yeah, it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous.
My feet looked so bad when I got home.
Yeah.
They were like
grey and just wrinkled.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I ruined my Doc Martens. They're still lying outside, covered in swampy and gross.
Yeah, my hiking shoes are the same. They're completely messed up.
I just gave up. I was like,
so heinous.
Bye.
Yeah, good times. Anyway, so Saccharine Dream. So this groove is really hard to get super tight. I roll off a little bit. I think we both do. Oh well, you're playing the lead over this section.
Yeah, you go for gold on the rhythm, and then I'll come in and do the next bit.
The rhythm is is real hard because there's a whole bunch of string skipping, and we changed the bass note underneath. So we had to find ways to move the groove around, but still play this top note that we wanted.
One fret out. This note?
No, not the first time. Not the first time.
Oh, really? Did not notice that.
Yeah, that's what we do the first time.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that. So there you go.
You
Too busy playing my crappy wishy-washy like
leady over the top. So the thing to keep in mind with this groove is really just to try and mute that bottom string as hard and as aggressively as possible. And yeah, if you're running a full gain tone like I am on this riff, just roll off a bit of your volume so that you get more of that like woody kind of percussiveness compared to, you know, you want to find that nice middle ground. So nasty. So nasty. So yeah, when you go and then you can only realistically, unless you want to skip from 9th fret to 1st really quickly, it makes more sense to play 2nd fret. 7th fret to 9th fret. So yeah, we kind of had to navigate that one really in a really awkward way. It's a horrible riff to try and play. It made me think of Learn to Fly with the delivery dude. So the delivery dude is our live sound guy, Aiden. He's now been in 2 of our clips on this album cycle, acting as the sound guy for One Shot in Colours and as the delivery guy in Runaway. He's a good sport.
It was so hard not to laugh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Like, I'm pretty sure if you slow down that part of the video, you will see all of us
in the background,
literally just trying not to die from laughter.
Yeah, it's so
Aiden.
so funny. So like, you know how you see him sort of like mouthing off to Danny? It's like, yeah, he was actually saying shit to Danny, and it was so funny. Like, I wish we had recorded him actually saying what he said so that we could release it.
The best bit was when the phone fell out of it.
Man. Oh my god. So like, you know, he's actually trudging in mud water with a phone in hand, like. And what happened?
Well, because he was using his iPhone to, like, as, like, you know, delivery drivers now use. I don't even know where I'm looking. I'm looking here, aren't I?
Here.
Oh, I'm looking here. Here.
That camera is not working. This one is.
So he's like, you know how delivery drivers have the PDAs now?
Yeah.
He was using it like that, and he put it in the pocket of his thing,
like
and
his
I think
jumpsuit.
there was a hole in it, so it went straight through the jumpsuit and landed on the floor in the water in his shoe. But luckily, it's waterproof.
Oh.
But yeah, sorry, that was me. I hit my
God.
piezo on.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, we thought he'd completely cooked his phone. We were all like losing it, and then like, oh man!
No.
He's like, nah, it's all good. Oh, dude. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. I love also how you guys recycle a lot of your props. It just shows that with a bit of creativity, you can get lots done. Yeah. See? It's quite cool. We've got a bunch of these.
Yeah.
We might actually auction off a couple more if you guys are interested in doing that. We might sell some of our old bannery boys and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So who knows? I think he should be your Easter egg guy in your videos from now on.
Probably.
Completely agree. He was such a good sport. Hello from Ukraine. On the last record, you used a real amplifier or a line 6. If it's not a secret, which IRs you use for line 6 helix stomps? Well, actually, we're not using any IRs. We're just using the inbuilt cabs. They sound great.
Yep.
The other thing as well, though, is that we're not using cab simulation live. We're only really using it for these sessions and for rehearsing, because we've kind of moved to an all in-ears system for rehearsing. So apart from that, we're actually just still going old school with cabs and amps because we like it. We prefer it that way. Just, I don't know, it's nice to still hold on to some of that realism.
Yeah, I like to feel it and hear it behind you on stage. I know that sounds ridiculous, but all inside of me.
There's something comforting about it. But in terms of the last record, that is, I'm pretty sure those are reamps. I can't recall exactly. Colors was done with, I'm pretty sure, Neural DSP.
Yeah, wasn't
the
it?
Fortin.
The Fortin stuff.
I'm pretty sure. The one before that, so Ghost Mile was definitely reamps.
Yeah, that was a 5153, I think.
Yeah. And I think we used. I think we used the Marshall JVM for a few bits and pieces, but not much. So really the Line 6s are just acting as an amp simulator rather than an amp and cab simulator for us at the moment. Apart from what you're hearing right now, which is also the cab sims. But yeah, like I showed before, it's literally just the Cali V30 cab, and it just sounds sick out the box. Like I'm not doing anything to it, and it sounds good, which is awesome. I like things being easy.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit there and tweak, like open up a patch or open up an amp and immediately go, ooh, yuck, and then you have to do a bunch of tweaking to it. But none of these patches are like that. Like none of the amps are like that. You can load up any amp and it sounds pretty good out the box straight away.
Yeah.
Which is sweet. And then you can kind of tweak from there. So you're starting with 70% awesome, and then the extra 30% is the tweaking. So, but it'll never sound bad, like straight out of the box, which is awesome. Okay, so this groove kind of continues on. Then it goes into like a heavier halftime groovy kind of version, and the only thing that really changes is Sim goes from playing her lead, which we will talk about. I'll go back to that.
You go through the rhythms first because they change.
Yeah. So the only thing that really changes in the lead part, is that top note. So the top note was originally 7th fret, creating like a 9, right? And then we just change it to a minor. Right? That's all that really changes. The whole groove in every other respect is identical. So there's nothing really interesting to talk about in that second half other than the top note changes. That's it. And that the notes are less. In fact, I don't think I'm palm muting them at all. I think they're all open.
A bit more open there,
yeah. So pretty much the same deal. So Sim,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Well, I'm on a... Yep, that's the patch.
Yep.
I'm basically following kind of like what the vocals are doing. So I'm literally just going... And then it opens up.
Yeah. So
The
rather
second
than everything being staccato, like you can see above the note, this point you can see that it's just regular note value.
So then it becomes... So that last one is just a bending and then hitting the pinchy.
Yeah, hit a pinch harmonic right here. So you'll see this note head, that one is in reference to pinched harmonics throughout the whole tab book. So it's kind of like your diamond shape. So you got this like kind of quarter bend. It looks ugly on tab, but again, because everyone's sort of using the tabs as a reference when listening to the song, because you all know the song already, you'll hear these quarter tone bends like clear as day in the track. So so some of this stuff, like, I mean, we're not notating absolutely everything. Like Simi's like palm muting like this note. We've notated a couple of them, but not everything. The idea is that if you notate everything that we're doing, all the vibrato, everything, it'll just be a cluttered mess.
You can hear it.
I mean, really, I think it's important as a player to use your ears anyway. it's important to not just rely on the tabs. In fact, the tab is just a guide, really. Most of the work comes from playing with the tune and trying to emulate what you're hearing, not necessarily what you're reading on the tab. The tab is literally just telling you where to put your fingers. That's it. And that's the first step. That's step one. Get your fingers in the right place, play the correct notes, but then there's all the feel-based stuff that comes after that. And a lot of that is done through listening to the record. So, yeah, that's a bit of me being a high school teacher coming out. I teach guitar for a living, so it's always important to mention these things because, like, you know, a lot of people will just look up a tab and play the notes and go, cool, I can play the song. But that's really only the first kind of part of what you have to do. Really, if you want to play it properly, you want to really listen to what the source material is doing, like on a finer detail, at a finer detail, whatever. I can't talk. Can't wait for you guys to come back to the UK. Missed you at Bloodstock and your own gig in London. Was devastated to see you guys wouldn't be at Radar for an absolute gent party. Man, Radar looks so good.
We're pretty cut that this year's been pretty much decimated for us.
A write-off, yeah. I like if anything, Radar is the one that I was like most bummed about actually, because same. It's like I was looking at the lineup and I'm like, man, I want to see all of these bands. There's so many bands on that lineup that I want to see. And it's devastating. It's really where we are as devastated, if not more, that we can't come and play for you guys. Honestly, really, really sucks. But we'll get through it.
Yeah,
we'll come out the other end. We'll be back.
2021.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a little while, but 2020 is not canon. It's just it never happened. It's not a story. There's no story to be told here.
EU.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just not...
EU Clown World.
Yeah. 2020 is Clown World. We'll be back with a real year.
I hope so.
Next year. That's not how I used to learn, by listening, reading music. Not my forte. Oh right, okay, yeah, totally. That's I think it's much more valuable learning by ear than it is by reading. I mean, I think reading is important, but I think it's far less important than trying to work things out by ear, especially in the contemporary world. Like, if you're trying to be a incredible classical pianist, then of course, like, reading notation is like fundamentally important. But I think when it comes to any kind of contemporary music, it doesn't make much sense because, I mean, think about it. We wrote these songs first. We didn't write them down. We didn't need to write them down. We basically just like jammed a bunch of ideas, and we had to come back and notate it afterwards. So if that gives you, and it took a while.
I'm just gonna say, Bright Star was a nightmare, and you're probably not gonna expect that was the song that was the nightmare, but God.
Well, it was funny because last week I had a bunch of people saying, man, none of these ideas actually sound like they come from Bright Star because they're all so like separate and not connected. But when they gel, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, and that song is insanely hard, and it took us a long time to notate it.
Yeah, that was the longest one, I think.
But, I mean, if you were to try and read the rhythm of that, it'd be way harder than just using your ears and vocalizing and doing all of these things. Because, you know, like, I like to think of music as a language, and I'm sure that there are hundreds of thousands of musicians who say this. But I think one thing that is important to think about is, like, if you compare it to how you first learnt to speak, did you learn to write and read first, or did you learn to speak and listen first? Everyone learned to speak and listen first, so I feel like music should be the same, because it is essentially the same things that you're training. You're training languages, you're training ears, you're training all of this sort of stuff. It's very similar. So yeah, I think the reading is good and useful, of course, but it's definitely less important than trying to train your ears. And the other thing as well is that if you want to learn theory, you can still learn theory without doing any of the written stuff as well. You can learn theory just by knowing your instrument and talking notation in that respect. So you still don't actually need to write things down if you don't want to. I think that's what put me off in lessons a lot of the time. It took me ages to try and work it out. Need to hear it to get it.
I'm the same. pretty much. Yeah. Most of the stuff I've learned has been by ear.
Yeah.
I can read music, but I'm not amazing at it. It makes more sense to me when I can hear everything that's going on. And I think as time has gone on for me, I'm just going from as someone who's purely really goes on the ears, you start to learn whereabouts those notes are on the neck through repetition and just when
playing.
your instrument.
Yeah.
So you kind of know roughly where you need to be. Like you've got an idea.
If you've heard something in your head, you'll be surprised as how good you get at learning what you're hearing in your head as a visualization of the fretboard. So like, you know, if I'm hearing do, you can just work it out pretty quickly. It does take a bit of time, but that is something that develops through just a lot of oral practice. So like one thing that I can't recommend enough is transcribing, just like learning a tune by ear, learning a solo by ear. It's never been easier because you can now on YouTube just slow down the function to 75-50% and listen to every single note. That's still fine. Like you're still training your ears doing it at any speed, but you'd be surprised at how much better you are at memorizing things when you use your ears as well. So if you're reading it off a tab, you have to read it, put your fingers in the place, check it, then try to look away from the page and try to just let your hands go where they need to go. So you're kind of doing like 2 steps. David Ellis, question for you: how do you develop your speed? What's your tips for this?
I mean, I haven't really done anything. God, I'm like the worst guitarist ever. When I was younger, I'm gonna go from there because that was when I was more focused on that. Metronome, and I hate to say it, it sounds so boring, but scales and then just scale exercises where you do string skipping and things like that was basically how I did all of that. I can't remember my scales now, but off the top of my head, but just my teacher would give me, okay, you can do it linear or you can skip every second note.
Yeah.
So it's so it makes it a lot more interesting,
So
and that actually gives you ideas for riffs and solos as well.
Okay, yeah, this is something that I've been doing a lot in teaching, and this is something that gets overlooked by, as far as I know, this idea gets completely overlooked by teachers all the time, which is the fact that scales are the building blocks of all music.
Yes.
Right? And so when you hear this, you're like, yeah, cool, that's a major scale. I've heard that a billion times. But like, if I were to say, play this chord, or something like that, if you play your scales not just up and down, but in a different sequence, you start writing music. You start coming up with stuff. You know? And suddenly you've got like a neoclassical sounding melody. Practice your scales like that. Don't just practice them up and down. Play them like you're trying to create music, because that's the point, I guess. But yeah, that's something that I don't think it's talked about enough.
No.
So in terms of speed for me, I've been trying to practice some of that recently, and I'm still atrocious at it, but I'm improving, which is good. Which is this whole concept that a guy, Martin Miller, introduced me to, which is the idea of it's called the closed loop. If you look up Martin Miller closed loop on YouTube, he talks about it in extreme detail, and it's really fascinating because it's basically about how the brain processes information. And once you get past a certain speed, your brain can't process each individual note that you're playing. It has to start viewing phrases as a single piece of information. So rather than like just those 4 notes separately, you have to start thinking all of them in one go. So they become that becomes one phrase or one block of information, not 4 separate pieces of information. And that's how your brain has to process it. So you kind of just have to let your hands do the work. And it sounds really dumb, but that's basically what's been working for me. I started doing an exercise that's similar to that. That's that like Paul Gilbert. That one.
Oh yeah.
Classic. So I started doing that exercise at 120, triplets at 120, and I got them up to 170 within a week. And I'm not, by no means am I like a shred, like single note staccato player at all. Like I'm all legato, and I've been using legato for years. So, you know, that's just a week's worth of practice, and I got it up 50 BPM using this method. So yeah, go check out the Closed Loop Martin Miller. Guy's an absolute freak guitarist. Oh man, he is insane. Just go and check him out. He's much better than me. He will be a much better resource than I can be. Unless a band has released the tabs, I've found that tabs are inaccurate. Yes, that too. I've had the same issue in the past. And I think it's also a good way to test your ears, because when you're playing something and then you hear the song, you will go, that's not right. But rather than just going, that's not right, I guess I'll just play it this way anyway, try and find the correct answer. Like, that's a really good exercise too. The fact that you can pick up their wrong notes means that your ears are already better than you think they are. So try transcribing, try like fixing the mistakes in the tab that you're reading, because that's really useful. I spent one summer practicing scales, and suddenly I'm able to make music and play things that were completely out of my league before. Absolutely, dude. Yeah, it's surprising how useful it is to just practice them, but don't just practice them like note by note. You know, try groups of 4.
Yeah, it's exactly what I used to do.
All that sort of stuff.
Yep.
All that stuff. It's all simple stuff, but you'll start to hear cool ideas in that. I really like the idea of turning them all into arpeggios too. So like, stuff like that, and then you start hearing chords and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, it's actually amazing what you can do. And this is just the major scale. You can do this with harmonic minor. You can do this with all the modes if you want to. There are so many different sounds that you can stuff around with. If anyone notices any mad quick solo is based off a scale. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
His covers are fucking unreal. They really are. Have you heard Martin's playing? Oh man, it is insane. Absolutely insane. My God, the stuff that guy can improvise. Okay, so yeah, you were talking about this melody sim. So it basically just like opens up in the second half, and then you add some little runs heading up as well. But yeah, this is the thing that we always do. Like I've talked about this multiple times now, that we tend to, if we don't want a rhythm part to be like in your face heavy, really intense, and we tend to divvy off one of two of us to follow the vocal or to add some atmospherics. But a lot of the time we use this trick of following the vocal line, because it just gives it that little bit of boost and a bit of extra presence, and it also pulls the guitars out of the way of the vocal as well. It complements the vocal rather than having the guitars sort of like be this monolithic heavy thing the whole time. It's how we can sort of keep things interesting, rather than just being like this stereo panned rhythm guitar the whole time.
And then
cool.
it goes to, I was both playing the riff, which I think you already showed them the change to the note. Yeah. So that changes, and then after that we have Sim goes like full epic lead style on the third repeat. So that's where it like really opens up and goes half time. And that's where we go. And that's where Sim. Yeah, what is it?
That's a solo.
What is it before that? Because are you just playing octaves before that?
When
it opens up.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
When I'm first doing it before it goes into the.
So yeah, I'm just doing this.
love how it's like cutting out the tones.
We're getting in each
like
other's way.
The like complete competition of jaunt.
Of chunk.
The line 6
chunky
is
chance.
just like, who? Which one am I going for?
Thanks Camel for linking the Martin Miller video. That's awesome. Cheers for doing that. Yeah, so that section's pretty straightforward. Basically, the vocal keeps building. What we do underneath it changes every repeat so that it doesn't get repetitive. And Sim's lead kind of goes from staccato to like full-blown epic by the end of it. So each time it kind of builds and builds and builds, and it builds into Simmy's sick-ass solo. That is really, 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 really hard.
And on the second half, when it goes into world domination, like drone mode with the riff that Scott just showed you before, I get quite like loosey-goosey with the backslides. So
Yeah.
So it's like.
That there is where
it
we
leads
now
into the solo.
jump into the solo. So yeah, same deal with the solos. Like these are just the notes. We've done a little bit of like, you know, there's a couple of things that we've added in terms of ornamentation. There's a bit of vibrato, a couple of staccato notes, but for the most part, it's basically just the notation. So yeah, this first little bit is sort of like a phrase that's jumping up. I guess you've got like a note, the top note of the phrase keeps jumping up.
So it's literally, I'm muting it. Sorry, I'll
move over a bit. Yeah.
I'll move over so you can actually see what I'm doing with my left and right hand.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of muting it. It's a bit of a cheater's way of kind of string skipping. It should be a lot cleaner than this, but I'm kind of doing it in a cheat way. So it's like, so you just. So that's just on the fourth string, I guess. So.
Yeah.
So you just got to have that mute on, so you're getting that kind of sound.
Yeah.
And then it goes.
And that slides up.
This is the bit where it gets dumb.
And that's it there.
So yeah, it's a lot of sliding around.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Like going from the
All the way up to 14. Yeah, it's real nasty.
Then these little bits here is something I kind of stole from Purr. It's where you play the note and then you're bending the note before it up to that note. So it's like without picking it though. So you
You're not picking that.
No. So you're getting that.
Yeah.
So you're kind of pulling off with this finger. Sorry, I'm not giving you the finger. And then bending down with that finger. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. I didn't realize you were doing that.
And sorry, it sounds like shit when you do it slow.
Yeah.
But it's the only way I can kind of show you.
Yeah, nice.
And then it's an arpeggio.
Which is
tap.
Nasty.
And then from that note, I'm literally pull that finger off and I'm sliding that.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of my leads, it's all about flow. I like to get weird noises and things from pulling a string off. I don't know if I got that off Gary Moore or Vi, because Vi's very much into kind of all that. You know, he'll do a lot of that stuff where you pull the string off. You get that sound?
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff. So I think I got a lot of that, from Vine more. So you're going for that. So you're sliding, and as you're pulling that off, you're you're like pulling it up as you're sliding to.
So that's this part here is exactly what Cindy's talking about. So you got this slide here, but then you're also half bending it.
Yeah. So. And then another kind of arpeggio kind of.
That's it.
As you can see, I really love this.
Nice. It's really hard to again, like what Sim was saying as well about flow. When you're playing the solo in full, it's fine. But when you're
apart from when I did it before.
From that one time, only once. So yeah, when you're trying to pull one lick out of a solo and playing it, it's quite difficult. So yeah, that's just sort of like a descending. It's sort of, this whole solo is sort of built around like a mixolydian kind of sound. So it's like a major third, but with a flattened 7. If that's, if that stuff interests anybody here. So yeah, it's all mixolydian type stuff, and Per loves that sound as well. He does like a lot of stuff built on dominant 7s and stuff like that.
This was actually one of the hardest solos to write in terms of it. The speed, the tempo that it's at is just, you can't play. Well, when you're me, you can't play like I couldn't do a blistering solo for that whole thing at that tempo.
No.
So I was like, well, make it kind of interesting, like what Per does, little choppy phrases that are kind of playful and that. But I don't know if you remember, but I literally had a beginning and an end.
Yeah. I do remember this.
So I had. That was it. I had nothing from there. You came up with the. That was you.
Yeah.
And then I had all that stuff. I had all of that. I just had that middle bit. I was like, I don't know how to join this together.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah. There's something. This is what always happens with solos. There's like one little phrase or one little thing that you need to fill.
Ow.
But yeah, it's interesting because I think you have to rely so much on your ears, like creating, or your head. Like you have to rely on something coming to you or something that you can hear prior to picking up the instrument. It's almost like, especially when you're trying to write a solo over a section that's quite fast, it's like your brain doesn't have enough time to think about how those things lock in, especially if you're like trying to play them on a guitar. You might be able to vocalize it a little bit, you might be able to vocalize a rhythm or something, but yeah, it's insanely difficult. All you can really do is try and think of it as, like in the case of this solo, you had that idea that was up at like 17th fret or 15th fret, but you just needed to find a way to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one thing about solos too, is that there's a logistical thing about it too, where you still have to play the notes. Like if you've got an idea, that's cool, but if you can't find a way to play it logically, then it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So sometimes you have to think about the logistics of it. Like just the physicality of the instrument is like, okay, well, I have these two cool ideas, but one's down at 5th fret and the other one's at like 17th fret. How the hell am I going to get there?
It was pretty much it. I was like, how do I get there?
Yeah.
So you just need to get yourself a Scott K for when that happens. Just go, help.
You need gap filler.
I actually had to do that with Lifeline as well, funnily enough.
Tricky ass solos.
The tricky solos where you're just like, what the hell? We'll go through these before we go further.
I'm more of a... This is Simon Burley. Sorry if I'm absolutely butchering your last name. I'm sorry, Simon. I'm more of a beginner guitarist and would like to ask you when you knew you were ready to play live, / how you deal with stage fright. I think, if I'm honest, it might sound like a really lame answer, but I think you're always ready, inverted commas, to play on a stage. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad. I think it's it's a hard one, man, because at the end of the day, it's about being confident of what you're doing, and I know that is insanely difficult, and we all have a hard time dealing with that. And this is where the stage fright thing comes in too. You kind of have to believe in what you're doing to some extent. It doesn't need to be, driven by ego, but I think you just need to believe that you're good enough for it. I know that sounds like hell, new agey and kind of lame, but I don't know. I think you've just got to find a way to be stoked about wanting to do it. You got to want to do it.
I found just jamming with people helped me. Like that for me, getting out and rehearsing with a band, with people, like that was the kind of the turning point for me that gave me that little bit. Once you kind of get confident playing with other people, that lifts your confidence to then go on stage. But hot tip, if you get stage fright, you kind of never really get over it. I still get anxiety attacks sometimes before going on stage. It's all about, I've just kind of found a way to deal with it. Yeah,
you just find ways of coping.
If you enjoy something, kind of find a way to get around that. But in terms of aside from the anxiety side of it, which is a whole other thing, and just purely getting into the confidence side of things, I think just getting out and playing with more people, just even jamming at people's houses, like just going around the guitar or whatever and just hanging out with your mates and just noodling.
Totally. Low pressure environment. Where you're just hanging out with mates and you might play something and they'll go, oh,
that's
dude,
awesome.
Oh, dude, that's sick. What?
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, oh, really? And even just that little bit of like affirmation from your mates can really lift your spirits as well.
Yeah.
I totally know that you can get stuck in a loop, and everyone has been there. I can pretty much guarantee that pretty much every single person who's performed a gig has had those gigs that have been like terrifying. And it is hard to deal with sometimes, but like, I don't know. I think you just got to find a way to get stoked, about it, be excited to play, as much as you are nervous as well. Think about all the good that can come from it as well. But I understand that it's obviously much harder than what I'm telling you. So it's tricky stuff. I think you go from using the stage fright into the adrenaline to push yourself through a performance. Yeah, absolutely. I think adrenaline is, while relying entirely on adrenaline can sometimes put you in a bad spot, I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was hugely helpful a lot of the time for getting me through difficult gigs. I think it makes a huge difference playing music on stage with your friends too. Like, the idea of playing on stage with people I don't like sounds miserable to me, and I don't think I'd ever actually do it. I think I would have quit music years ago, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of stress that comes with playing music as well, and touring and all this kind of stuff. And so, like, the idea of doing that, all this stressful stuff, for 45 minutes on stage with people I don't like, sounds shit. Like, nothing about that sounds good. It would be so bad. Time. Yeah, right.
I couldn't think of anything worse. Right? Why would I want to
do that? Yeah.
Like this activity that already, like, is the remover of all financial stability and
the increaser of stress. But then on top of that, you get to play, and you're like, I hate these guys.
I don't even like this music or
all these people. Why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Sorry, that concept just cracks me up.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's insane that bands do this. It's insane.
Well, I can understand what it's like. You make money from it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at that level of it.
If you're making a living out of it.
If you're like Pink Floyd and you're like, oh my God, I have to do this so I can actually pay the bills. And I guess maybe.
You make it work. Yeah. So in a really...
But at our level, I would not do anything unless it was fun. I'd be like,
way.
No, why would I do that to myself?
Yeah, self-inflicted torture. And just so you all know, we're not talking about the actual playing of the music. We love playing music. Obviously.
No,
we're talking about all of the other shit that you have to do in order to play the music. That stuff would suck if you're doing it with
Let's
people
just
you
call
hate,
it the industry.
yeah, the industry stuff.
The paperwork stuff.
I think it's better when you learn how to deal with bad situations when something goes wrong. You learn how to deal with that. That's also very true. That is a hard thing to learn because, when I'm teaching my students, I try to remind them that making mistakes is actually sometimes a good thing because it outlines ways in which you can improve. And, we practice so we can improve. If you play and you make no mistakes, then are you improving or are you just sort of playing what you already know? And so in a way, finding those things you can't do is great because it allows you an opportunity to fill that space and it actually makes your practice productive. So that's an easy way to frame a mistake into something positive, is you can basically go, that's the thing I need to do to get better.
The greatest teacher failure is, who said that?
Yoda. What a boss. What an absolute
But it's
legend.
true. It's true.
It's true. Failure teaches you a lot. But it's brutal because obviously by the same token you wouldn't wish failure upon yourself or others either. So it's this weird thing that it is an inevitability, but why frame it negatively if you can get something positive out of it, I guess. Yeah. Sometimes learning how to just laugh at making a screw up rather than thinking it's the end of the world. Exactly. I could not agree more.
And that's all relies on your state of mind as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a bad state of mind, it doesn't matter what. Don't do things when you're in a bad state of mind.
Just take a break.
Because it just feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a bad time.
It just feels real bad.
Yep. There's some low rumble in your mic. Yeah, sorry, that's probably because I'm accidentally banging the table and stuff. Just enthusiasm for these
and if
wonderful
I'm
questions.
hitting this frickin' peas on and off, so apologies for that. You might be hearing this every now and again. That's me.
Ever had one of those moments where you were touring with a band you looked up to and they turned out to be unpleasant?
Not touring. Maybe shows.
Yeah.
I don't think we've toured with anyone. I haven't.
No.
I think everyone we've toured with has been awesome,
pretty
actually.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, of course, there are those who keep to themselves, and there are ones who are more private than others. But I mean, hey, that's if they want to do that, that's cool.
That's fine.
But we've never really been berated by people or anything like
No,
that.
I can't think of anyone I've toured with and went, wow, I thought they were going to be really cool and they're complete jerks.
Yeah,
not touring wise, anyway.
If anything, we've had the opposite with Leprous. I thought they were going to be complete twats.
And they were.
It turns out they were, but they were also funny, so it's okay.
Just like us. Big twats.
We're big twats. Catch you later, Benno. Thanks for dropping in. Hope you're doing well, dude. I make lots of mistakes being a beginner and whatnot, but I'm happy to use them as jumping stones onto getting it right. I was elated when I got the chords of colours right. I was grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's so awesome, man. Stoked.
That's what it's all about, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool when you have a thing that you know you can't do and then you practice it and then a week later you're doing it effortlessly. And then, sometimes you don't even take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back, and I think it's really important to do that too. To go, where was I last week? I wasn't able to do this last week, but now I can. And it's like, cool. Then you know that the work you're doing is paying off, and it means that your practice is effective. That's really important too, because you can practice, but if you get nothing done, then it's not efficient and it's not good practice. So the fact that you've achieved something means that you've done something right in terms of how you practice as well, not just what you're practicing. I did a big gig back in 2003 supporting the legendary
New Wave of British Heavy Metal Band.
Right.
Supporting a legendary. This is not naming names.
Yeah, right. Turned out to be a bunch of CNSU's days. Yeah. It's a shame.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What can you do? I feel like that attitude won't get you far these days.
Let's be real though. Those bands came from that stadium rock era where that's what it was. Excess and being a asshole was cool. But that's not cool anymore. No. So
now that we have stuff like streaming and a way to communicate with fans, it makes the barrier between us and you smaller, which I fully endorse. I think it's awesome because we're just people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I don't get why you would be a dickhead when you could just not be a dickhead instead. I mean, yeah, people have bad days and stuff and people fuck up. That's fair enough. But, you know, if you're actively every day just being a douche to people, I don't understand what the merits of that is. If I'm honest, I don't get it. But, you know, I guess you can get lost in fame. Hey guys, has any one of you tried playing Daniel Estrin's guitar? How difficult is it? Cheers to Comrade Danny. Comrade. Not really. I haven't really had a fang on Danny's guitar.
I am awful at keys.
Yeah.
I can do chopsticks, and that's probably about it. I can play a chord, like I can
we can work things out
translate it, but I'm not a no. Don't put me near a piano.
Same. I used to play piano.
Let's
way
just
back
leave that up to Comrade Danny.
We'll let Zach play the piano for us. Zach's a great piano player. I had a strap break on my bass halfway through the last song in a set and ended up playing floor playing it like a cello. That's sick. That's so sick. That's champion material. Good work for doing that. Because at the end of the day, people are seeing you perform as well. They're not just watching you play songs. The fact that you actually, you know, performed in that way is sick. I'm into it. Hi, Voyager. Hello, Voyager. I've been on sets where it's absolutely shat the bag, and I've wanted nothing more than to get off set, and people have said it was bad. Doesn't knock my confidence. Just means I had one bad set. Exactly. Yeah. It happens. It happens. You have good days and bad days. I remember having a really, really, really bad set in Brisbane once, and it was miserable, and I just kind of had to pull myself out of it because we had a gig the next day in Melbourne. I just had to pull my head out.
It's so hard sometimes to pull yourself out of that mindset too, but
very tricky. But we all have the capacity to do it. I'll bet people like Jordan Rudess or John Petrucci or amazing musicians have had shit sets. Absolutely. Everyone does. We're all human. That's something we tend to forget sometimes when we idolize our favorite players. That's why I would love to see more insane guitarists learning something from scratch and watching how they learn.
Yeah.
I think that something like that would be sick. I'm tempted to do this on stream if you guys would be interested in, you know, us doing something like that. Watch us play like trash for an hour. But, you know, maybe
I love playing like trash.
But maybe
I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. The whole point was we're supposed to play badly. But yeah, I think it's good to watch like really high level players learn something from scratch to see how they learn. Because I think that's, you know, they got to the point where they're that good, there must be something that they're doing right. So yeah, it would be interesting to see more stuff like that. Cool. Second half of the solo.
Yeah, second half of the solo, I wanted to... The idea I had in my head was to take the idea, you know, from the beginning, you know, all of that, but put it in that section, change the tonality of it, open it up a little bit.
It sort of recontextualizes an idea that's already there. Yeah. It's so funny because like every song that I've done so far, these are the things that keep popping up. It's these constant like little tropes and ideas that we always reuse, but just in different contexts.
It's something I brought a lot of that in when I joined the band when we did Revolution. I love hearing guitar parts that are slightly different.
Yeah, and just reference.
Yeah, reference something, and guitar solos that reference like the melody lines and things. Yeah. So you go, you know, I like that when I listen to other people's music.
Totally.
That's why I love David Maxim, because he can take those themes that he's done, you know, with one record, and you can put them through like tons of records and they're still original. But you hear it and you go,
that's from this.
You know? You know, and I love that. I love it. If it's done in a non-lazy way, it's amazing. Yeah. So yeah.
When it's done with purpose.
So I'm just trying to remember what I did here. Is it there? Yeah. Again, all slidey. So you want to... That's like a kind of half pinchy, like not pinchy bend, down bend. And then I do a lot of that stuff for kind of like sliding into notes. This bit, Scott actually recorded this bit, not me. Could you tell the difference? I was actually really impressed when I listened to that. I'm like, we sound the same. I can't tell that that's not me, but... And I think you don't pick that. I think it's just...
it's just tapped. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Bend down.
Yes, yeah. Cool. So that's sort of like there's two halves to that solo. And just so everyone knows with the tab, this is a really confusing little bit here, but this top note here, this top voicing, that is the note that's being bent up, and this note below is the beginning of the next part of the solo. So if you're confused about that, this is actually, we had to overdub the solo by one note, so there's a bit of bleed from a previous take. So that's what's going on here. So if you're ever confused, that's what's going on. So this is the last note here, and then this note here takes you into the second half of the solo. Cool. And then we're back to that riff again, but now it's up a tone.
I'll let you do it because it sounds like anus. It's such a bitch of a riff.
It's so nasty. Yeah, so it's just all that string skipping, but now it's up 2 frets. If anything, the riff is a little easier at 7th fret than it is at 5th fret, just because the palm mute's a little tighter, the strings respond a little better. So that just repeats. Ash does a cool like full time kind of gut kind of thing.
So driving,
which is wicked. We just hit this big old thing, and then we're back to the beginning riff again.
And then Scott gets his Pliny on.
Yeah, so Pliny definitely influenced this whole section quite a bit. So that's the first half. So that's just your little staccato version of it, to let those delays kind of like play with the space. Then we've got this whole... that little keyboard bit. And then I change patch to like a lead. That's that whole section. It's basically just like a melodic play on the original sort of idea that you hear in the song. Josh, the tuning is drop A. So that's A, E, A, D, G, B, E. So that's this whole section here. And there's just like lots of pads and keyboards, and the bass kind of comes in and does all kinds of cool stuff underneath it too. Then we're back to the big boy riff, the whole we just play that a bunch of times until the end, where we just go and then keys. That's
bing, 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 bing,
and that last little
Try.
Sorry. that last little chord there is kind of cool and edgy. I like it. that's pretty much the whole tune. So this one's like much more kind of guitar-y and proggy, I guess you could say. It's probably the proggiest track on the
it's definitely
record, I reckon.
one of the harder ones we've...
yeah. There's lots of real difficult syncopated riffs. This one in particular, this nasty boy right here is real hard to get that right. But yeah, it's about just getting confident with those string skips, not letting this top note stop you from getting back to 7th fret on the A string, or B string, however you want to think about it. So yeah, that one's pretty tricky, but it's fun. It's a really fun tune. It's hard as hell.
And yeah, just with the solo, just do it in sections.
Yeah, that was one thing that the Martin Miller stuff has really helped me think about as well. Is like, I mean, I always used to learn solos as phrases, but now I'm thinking of like trying not to be intimidated by the speed of it. You want to train your hand to be in one position. Like, you want to learn what your hand is doing. Whenever each phrase you learn, you want to play it with the exact same fingering, exact same pick pattern.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're doing all this from muscle memory. Best way to develop muscle memory is to do the same thing the same way every single time, and that's everything. What fingers you use, which way you're picking. So think about all of that stuff when you're learning the phrase to begin with. Then you'll find that bumping up the speed is actually a lot easier because your hands are doing the same thing over and over again. So that was one thing that I was really surprised by, was just how much higher my speed threshold was than I thought it was. I was psyching myself out of playing faster, but it turns out that you can do it. It's just you have to show your hands how fast it is by doing it a bunch of times. It's really weird. It makes you sound like shit for a really long time. You play it and you're like, that sounds like garbage. I need to slow this down. Do not slow it down. Keep it at that tempo, because eventually your hands will just actually learn what they're supposed to do. It's the weirdest and most counterintuitive thing ever. The only caveat is that you have to train your hands to know where they're going at slow tempos first. You need to develop what your finger pattern is. You know, like this first phrase, am I going to start that with the pointer finger or the ring finger or whatever? Do all that practice really slow. But then once your hands know what they're doing, it's a matter of just bumping up the speed. And you can do that in large increments. I don't think you have to do it in like 5 BPM increments unless you're like really working on the threshold of your playing at all times. It's worrying when you're watching this and start singing the next bit of the riff out loud without realizing. No, that's great. that's what we want to hear. Everything you play is amazing, unique. Oh, thank you so much. And I love your little cat icon.
We love cats.
We love cats. I know you went on a rant about learning things by ear, but can you quickly go over how to play the tapping part at the beginning of A Beautiful Mistake? I think I'm close. I just want to know I'm correct. Oh boy.
You're asking Scott to do something that he literally has to relearn every time we have to play this song live. He's like,
true.
How the fuck do I play this? Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's that. Pretty sure that's correct. So my left hand is on G, 7th fret, pointer finger, 9th fret, ring, and then my middle finger is doing all the tapping work in the right hand, starting at, what would that be, 19, 18, 16, 18, 19, 18, 16, 18, 19, 21. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
That sounds right to me.
Good God, it has been a long time. Thanks for pulling out a really, really old, well, not really, really old, but old song for me to try and learn on the spot. But this is exactly what I was talking about before. This is hopefully, oh no, that's right. Bummer. I'll have to put the track into Pro Tools. Give me 2 seconds.
You're right.
Yeah. Just, I want to be sure because I don't want to teach, I don't want to show this guy something and be wrong. So. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yay, got there. So I hope that helps. No dramas, man. Cheers, Brent. Upload a cover when you're comfortable. Upload it. I want to see it. Water Over the Bridge is coming, Iwa. That will be Eva. Sorry, I'm probably butchering your name. I'm very sorry. But Water Over the Bridge will be in a couple of weeks. So we're doing this all in album order. So we've got Entropy next.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to relearn that as well.
Then Reconnected. Then, well, we don't need to do Now and Ever because there's literally no guitars.
No.
Then Sign of the Times, which is an interesting one because that we literally put together in the studio. So I'll have to learn how to play that. Jesus, I haven't actually thought about that. That's in a couple of weeks. We've got enough time. Water Over the Bridge will be another 4 weeks. But we're going to be doing each track off the record. So, and all of these videos will be rewatchable. They'll be rewatchable on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch. So don't feel like if you're not in the stream, don't worry. All the videos will be up online for you to watch later. But of course, if you want to come hang out and talk with us, then tune in at 8 p.m. 8 plus GMT every Wednesday for this little hangout. Cool. I think we'll call it a show. Thanks, Simi, for dropping in.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Yeah, it's great. It's more fun. It's more fun having you here.
I think I got the hang of it by the end of it.
Yeah. Apologies about all of the stuff ups at the beginning of this stream.
Yeah.
We were trying to navigate exactly how to plug in 2 guitars and all kinds of stuff.
I promise you I will be in ship shape next week. I promise. I'm going to go home and religiously practice now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, get back into it. And of course, if you want to check us out, we are Voyager Australia on Facebook, so that's facebook.com/Voyager Australia. YouTube is the same, Voyager Australia. Twitch, which is a pretty new channel, so if you want to follow us on Twitch, that is twitch.tv/VoyagerAU. Then we have our Voyager Bandcamp, where you can pick up all of our sweet merch, like this awesome tab book that we have been using this whole time, designed by the one and only Ashley Dudecourt and transcribed by us, so we can affirm that the notes are correct and good.
So if we're playing it wrong here, we're wrong.
We're wrong. The tab book is correct. And you can pick that up from our Bandcamp. It's $10 US. And do know that the money that you spend on Bandcamp goes directly to us. It is the best way to support us as artists and as musicians, is to buy our stuff from Bandcamp. So if you're keen to get the tab book and you want to learn these tunes, please consider going to Voyager.bandcamp.com and picking up a copy of the tab book. It's pretty much the only place where you can get it at the moment. And if there's enough interest, we may even create some hard copies. So if you are interested, please let us know, because we want to try and gauge interest on printing off some hard copies.
Yes, because they will look sexy.
Yeah, they will look.
They'll look a lot
so
nicer
good.
than you scrolling
Up and down
like this
on a PDF. Mind you, the PDF does actually
look quite
looks
sexy.
Quite beautiful, I must say. This is a testament to Ashley Dudecourt's amazing design work.
I'm just showing my age, really, aren't I? I like physicals. Things.
Yeah.
I like to hold it in my hand and look at it.
Yeah.
But Ash is a wizard of not only drums but also of the visuals, as you can see.
And actually, on the note of drums, there will hopefully be a drum book coming out as well.
Yes.
So any drummers here or any guitarists who know any drummers that want to know stuff from this record, Ash will be releasing a drum book for this pretty soon as well. So keep your ears and eyes out for that one. But on that note, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.